Rar, rar, rar.
Say hello to YouTube.
Huh?
Say hello to YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. This is a lovely bike. Right. Take you down here.
So this weekend I went for a spin to enjoy a bit of summer, as highlighted by the number of strawberry carts by the side of the road in Ireland. And although I had set my mind on the destination of Donadea Forest Park, I hadn't really thought about a narrative to present for this video. But as the afternoon progressed and I also headed towards Enfield, which seems like an appropriate place to have a cup of tea, on my Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, a pattern starts to occur. And it is a pattern that I've noticed before when venturing out on the classic 500, and now since Strider's latest facelift with the Hitchcock's accessories, something that is occurring more and more. Wherever I stopped, I would get very positive reactions on how the bike looked. And there was always this one question that was raised. Where do I get one of these? So that is going to be our narrative for this video. You may call it infotainment, or intermercial, or even both. Let's just call it a Frankie's World waffle video. Served with strawberries, whipped cream and chocolate sauce. Now the question of how do I get one of these in case of Strider, my Interceptor 650? That is a much more complicated matter than just walking into a dealership and buying one. And one of the things that I really like about Royal Enfield is that there is a huge aftermarket for all sorts of parts that can change the look, the feel, the handling of your bike in any way you wish. And with that, there's also a caveat that you might encounter different standards of quality with it. So a bit of research is involved. And then of course there is how comfortable are you with fitting the parts yourself. Some parts are easy, like putting on a new fender, but for instance if you want to upgrade your front suspension, that might be just a little bit more complicated and you might need some help to do that. But before you touch the first nut and bolt for your personalized project, you're going to need to get the bike to work on. And there you have options. In my case, I got my Interceptor 650 pre-loved. And I got it early in the beginning of last year, a 2021 Interceptor with only 4,500 miles on the odo. And I went to check it out and it looked perfectly fine. Took it for a test drive and I made the deal. What also definitely was of influence in this process was that this was not the first pre-loved bike I'd ever purchased. Actually, most of the bikes that I owned were pre-loved. So I had a bit of experience of knowing what to look for. Well, that's all fine and dandy, you say, but I do not have the experience. Well, find somebody who does. And knowing the Royal Enfield community, there are a lot of Facebook pages and groups out there, that you can join and just ask questions. And even somebody might even volunteer to come along with you and have a look at the bike. In my case, there was still a bit of warranty left on the bike, and actually I felt more comfortable knowing that the bike did 4,500 miles already. So any factory faults in the build would have probably shown up. Although, caveat, it's not a guarantee. Just as you should never confuse warranty with guarantee, but that's a different story. But the end result was that my total cost for the bike, as it is now, was a lot less than having to buy a new one. But you might interject at this point and saying, Frankie, I don't want an Interceptor, I just want to know where I can get a Royal Enfield. And you have your heart set on the new 650 shotgun, which is a magnificent bike. I recently had the pleasure of swinging my leg over one, and I have to say I was vastly impressed with how the quality looked and felt, definitely showing the strides of the brand. So yeah, you're probably going to be looking for a dealership, if not a second hand with just a few miles on it. So there are some considerations with that as well. First of all, the Royal Enfield attracts a certain breed of motorcyclist, such as myself, that have been in the game for quite a few years and like to do their own maintenance. And you can. That actually can save you quite a bit of money. I mean, it varies to where you go, but as one comparison, I know I would be charged 150 euros for a service when all parts and oil would cost me half of that, using all original parts that the workshop manual tells you to replace with such a service. And again, if you feel uncomfortable with it because you've never endeavored in such activity before, there are numerous YouTube videos on how to go through the entire process. Plus, again, I'm mentioning the user groups, the Facebook groups of Royal Enfielders that can help you out and advise you. In the end, it can save you a lot of money. And then it comes to the decision of deciding which dealership to go by. And there are a lot of factors you need to consider. If you are doing your own servicing, then distance shouldn't be too much of a problem. But always go from the scenario where the worst possible things can happen. For instance, what your experience will be when you need to make a claim on the warranty. And again, being in contact with a user group, a brand club, or anything like that can give you valuable information about the reputation of a dealership. Where you also might need to consider of what kind of service and mechanical work the dealership is capable of doing. Now, most dealerships will be perfectly fine in providing you the maintenance service that your motorcycle needs, but most of them are also quite limited to that. So make sure you are informed and try to get some testimonials on work done on the bikes by dealerships to actually have like a feeling of their level of expertise with the motorbike. And maybe you'll never need it, but if you do, don't be left wishing that you were prudent at the beginning by inquiring to see if you can get some testimonials. So for now, I will thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Frankie's World.